Broadcasting live from the backstretch at Saratoga, this is the Handicappers Report. Brought to you by CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier online wagering site in New York State. CapitalOTBBet.com. Sign up today. And the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany. Make it to the Clubhouse Racebook.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Handicappers Report alongside Seth and Merrow. I am Anthony Mormino coming to you live on the backstretch of Saratoga Race Course. And what I would tell you is, if you have some free time today, to go to the racetrack because it is picture perfect this morning.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it might not be in a couple.
You're right. Get into your licks while you can here, because I think the Florida storm and Georgia storm is coming up, and we're in the cone, as it were. So we'll keep our fingers crossed there. But you're right. I mean, this is a really another gorgeous morning up here.
I said it before. It's you're gonna have elbow room. It's as good as a day to go to the racetrack and enjoy yourself. I mean, if you just want to bet horses, etc. I thought if the top of the page doesn't mean that much to you, these are glorious times. And Naira already has a contingency plan for the turf stakes races. They'll run them on Sunday outside of the horizontals, which makes for easy housekeeping.
Yeah.
And it's the way it is.
Run them or not.
It's a different era, but it's amazing, Seth. I was thinking, we never had anything like this before. I bet if I went through the entire 80s, right or wrong, there'd be a fraction for every quarter mile. I cannot remember any cancellations until 87. That was the first time I think we ever had a cancellation, first time I've ever experienced one. And, it's just more common now. For whatever the reason, safety, but I don't remember horses getting hurt before. It's a unique time. We've talked about over the winters when Jeff Carl used to do what we do. He'd say how they never canceled in the winter in the old days at Akron. He told me, he goes, for the jockeys, something I never thought of. He goes, wind was their biggest concern. Getting pulled.
Yeah.
I said, geez, I never thought about that. But he goes, yeah. He goes, we ran all the time. I'd be interested to know how many. We've been running in winter in New York for about 50 years. How many times in the first 20 years we've canceled? So there's a contingency plan in place. We don't need one today, it appears like, and you should come up to the races because it is going to be beautiful. My partner, just on a whim, just thought it'd be cute to hit the pick six yesterday. Doesn't tell anybody, holds out, and he wins. And
I will say it was logical. It wasn't a huge pick six, but I played with an $8 ticket. I never play. I don't know what compelled me.
Yeah, that's the more interesting part.
I never played the pick six.
You're not Mr. Pick Six.
But I went over yesterday, and I didn't play the first two races
at all. You
didn't
even say you liked horses on the day.
It was not a compelling card to me, and so I wasn't really planning to jump in at all. And then the pick six sequence came up, and I thought this could just kind of play out logically. So I'll just put a little ticket together. So I had 3 singles and 3 doubles.
Jesus.
It was an $8 ticket, and bingo, bango, bongo.
Unbelievable. This is the man that I talk about all the time that won the contest.
Very good.
About 1989 on a cloudy Friday afternoon. We're sitting up at a place that doesn't even have a TV stand anymore. We watched Proper Evidence win the ballerina at about $90. And a couple years ago, we went out to dinner. His wife and my wife, they're friends, and I gave him the program for that day. And his wife is like my wife, who has this stuff? And she's like, well, how do you know it's the right program? And I said, well, if you look at race number 3, that's where we met. And when in those days, I used to put people's names on the race where I met them. And 35
I'm
years
always
later,
curious, contest players, do you prefer the mythical bankroll or live money?
I
But he is. And by the way, it's going to be the first weekend at Keeneland for me. This is the guy who was no one has ever been more right than my friend who said, you got to come to Keeneland. We were both bachelors a long time ago. I was like, one of the few things I was a doofus for. So last year, this past spring, I made the trip. And I teasingly text him thinking he's going to say, well, I'm in Atlanta, etc. I go, well, I'm at the Keeneland paddock. Oh, no. He's at Keeneland. So he came down. We spent some time together and been at Breeders' Cup. He showed me the he's introduced me to some of the handicapping guys, etc. in that world. But one of my favorite.
He didn't seem to have a preference, though. Most of the big contest players seem to like the live money more.
He just wants to bet horses.
Yeah. That was kind of the response.
He's just like, he just wants.
Get it going.
You know?
I can appreciate that.
And we're having dinner on Sunday, although I texted him and I didn't get a response. Like, is it just the men? All right. Her feelings won't be hurt.
We're coming back Labor Day.
Right. So this is the best television in the world. We're talking to somebody off air that nobody knows. But if you Google them, you would find him because this is the man that Country House put over the top. So, but thank you for coming over this one. One of my favorite people on earth, and I will see him. His wife will be coming up the end of the weekend, so we'll go out to dinner, and I'll see him at Del Mar, etc. So, but that's him. Everybody thinks the man, the myth, the legend. Proper evidence. About $89 and change. That was like as Chris Antley was becoming Chris Antley.
Oh wow!
Wow. He had made a name. I think that was the year he had the 56 in a row in the spring summer. But before we get to business, and we're about the same age. You know what this date? Oh, there's two things that August 8th reminds me of all the time. One of them is hard to imagine. The other one is when Steve Cawthon got off affirmed. That race was on a Tuesday, by the way. Do you think he was thinking, I'm never going to win another race at Saratoga again? He never won again. I know he went to Europe, but that's still incredible.
I was going to say he had the great career here that kind of then went south a little bit, but then he went over. He had a great career over in Europe.
But he gets off affirmed on a Tuesday, runs down Sensitive Prince. I think they go 47-1, a tick off the then track record, and you're not winning it. But I'll give you a better one. 10 years later, consecutive races, dead heats.
Oh wow! What are the odds of that?
If before that date, I would have told you, and that was at the time when I was coming. I heard coming every day. I was like, I would have bet an amount of money I couldn't afford to lose that would ever happen. Yeah. And I'll give you another one to that. Generally speaking, I know we run the Birdstone now. We didn't used to run races like that, and I know we run 2-mile races. But generally, 13 furlongs on the turf, 1 5/8, is the longest distances we run. One of them was 13 furlongs on the turf. The other one was a 5-furlong juvenile dash. So the shortest and the longest consecutive races, August 8th.
That's crazy, like I say.
And so, in the 8th race on August 8th, 1988, the number 8 did not win. Ran third. That was a lot of 8s. But consecutive dead heats, and 10 years before that, Cawthon never wins again. I think he had like a 3-bagger that day, but he never won again.
That's crazy, too.
It was also the last race affirmed won before his 5-race losing streak.
Coming up here at Capital OTB today, it's the $100 Play the Board contest, and that kicks off another string, including back to yesterday, of events down at the Racebook. A lot of fun down there. $100 Play the Board contest adds a little extra fun this afternoon. Players bankroll tomorrow at the Clubhouse Racebook. Folks can jump in, and the players will pick the plays. At the end of the day, the bankroll split up amongst the teams. Saturday, King of the Hill contest at the Clubhouse Racebook. All of those happening at 711 Central Avenue. Bounty Bet returns on Saturday. Don't forget, it is your late pick 5 up here at Saratoga. Play it with your Capital OTB bet account, and you're in for a shot at the bounty. And Sunday, the $150 pick 3 contest. Again, we've kind of inched our way to 3 Sundays where everybody got a little money. We had a whiff, 2 Sundays ago. But we're
run
on the
them all?
verge. We're on the verge of getting a good one. So we'll certainly be trying again this week. But the entries open tomorrow on Friday. Go to capitalotv.com. Click on the promotions link. Look for the bankroll slate. Click on that, and there's an entry form there. Entries are Friday at noon until Sunday at noon, and then we randomly pick the team. Coming up 10 o'clock, racing across America today. Thursday means our regular visit from the DRF team. Dave Grenig today. We'll get some preview and some review on some of the stakes action. Jessica Paquette's in town from Parks. We'll talk with her.
For vacation.
Yeah, that's right. A little break, little hiatus down at Parks. So Jessica will jump in, and then Kevin Cox, the Brooklyn Cowboy, also on the show this morning for some handicapping thoughts. Racing across America, 10 o'clock.
I have my nearsighted glasses on, but I think we might be in the company of a Kentucky Derby winning owner.
Oh,
I think that's it. But the other thing I want to talk about, just the handicapping thing. We talked about yesterday, race number 2, first race of the day, where there would be big separation between Will Not Be Swayed and Tiz Purple. And they went crazy for Will Not Be Swayed. And I talk about the regression angle all the time off the July 11th. I think they made him 3-5.
Yeah.
And I went up to 5-1. So the disparity went exactly the way I thought. And I think you have to be careful. I saw nothing told me that Will Not Be Swayed wouldn't do exactly what he did. A slight regression in the race.
I don't know. That was a pretty good race. But the winner just got the jump on him. I thought he ran well.
He off the 65 debut, he had long enough to improve, but he just ran him off his feet. And I'm like, you can't. I know what we do here. I say this all the time. No public handicappers pick more horses run last than me. I said, but you can't. You have to there's no way Will Not Be Swayed was a good price. There's nothing you could have liked about him at 3-5.
They were closer in talent, certainly, than the odds indicated.
Yes, and that was what. And I think if you make a living at a betting, so what? They were about 2-1. It was about a 2-1 separation in price on the morning line, and 5-1 separation on the betting line. You will stay in this game forever, betting horses that are 5 times the price, and kind of close. Like I always said, well, obviously I have to run a little better, but you expect it, and I expect the other guy to run a few points worse, and you will make a living staying in this game. So I was shocked. I think we talked about what I say. I wish I had the thing. I thought maybe 6-5, but they went crazy. Yeah, you said, you've taught me the power of the Buyer's speed figures is enormous, and that's 76.
But as we were talking, I thought they might get a little closer because, again, talent-wise on the page, they look closer than certainly the final odds indicated.
Right. Time for the DePaula play of the day?
Yes.
All right. Steve pick the DePaula.
The race for savings is going on now at DePaula Chevrolet. Pick your Chevy, pick your payment, and DePaula delivers. Or every Chevy, 0 down payment, 0 first payment, 0 security.
So come join the family and think DePaula for all your automotive needs.
Hey, everybody. Steve Bick back with you for Thursday for the DePaula play of the day. Coming off a solid enough second today with backstretch Rose. No match for the winner, but managed to hold second. Today, the 9th race is a state-bred second level allowance turf sprint. And let's get the turf in while we can before the storm hits. The race is wide open this 9th. No result is going to surprise in here. And for that reason, let's look to the 4 latest edition, Tom Morley and Johnny V. And of course, they're coming off of a win at Aqueduct in June. Got a nice 8 weeks rest, give or take, and is potentially going to win 3 in a row here. Went to Finger Lakes and won on the dirt before that win downstate. This shortens up from 6 to 5.5. And at 8-1, the DePaula play of the day is latest edition. And that's the latest play. All right, everybody, good luck. Back with you on Sunday. Let's weather the storm.
The race for savings is going on now at DePaula Chevrolet. Pick your Chevy, pick your payment, and DePaula delivers. Or every Chevy, 0 down payment, 0 first payment, 0 security.
So come join the family and thank DePaula for all your automotive needs.
And I was correct. We are in the company of a Kentucky Derby winning owner who I've had dinner with on the literally on the streets of where were we? Arcadia? What's that Italian restaurant we went to a couple times? It's awesome. Everybody from horse races there. But it was so crowded. The second time we went, there was like 6 of us. We were literally on the street. The sidewalk was between us and the restaurant. Don't even get me started. I have to protect some of the names, but a different time, we're in this restaurant having a conversation, and somebody in the business is taking a point of view that the FBI kind of showed wasn't the correct point of view, if you can fill in the blanks. And we're sitting there. This person must think we're like 2 guys that just picked up our first daily racing form. And luckily, I'm sitting like, can't see me. I'm literally biting through my bottom lip. I'm like, are you crazy? And my man just laid her out. Oh, she's laid her out in lavender. And a couple months later, the FBI came knocking on the door. That was that. But a great restaurant we go to, and I'm sure they'll be playing it. They'll be staying at some fancy dancy place in Del Mar. I'll be at the Quality Inn, but he's already got plans for San Diego. All right, let's kick it off. State Breds, Fillies, Maiden Special 8s going what's becoming the popular 6.5 furlongs.
3, 1, 2, and 7 for me. Lady Wisdom. Blakely's Wish is really intriguing, but I tilted towards Lady's Wisdom. We're getting a price here. We're 10.2 before the Ocala sale. There's a sibling called Amadeus Music, the one in the second start of the career. Another sibling, Summer at the Spa, one in debut. Trainer Bill Morey does very well with debut runners. I thought there was enough here that I would chase the price a little bit in debut. But again, Blakely's Wish, this is a sibling to Forenzi Fire. That one won the first start of the career. 2 of the first 3 went on to have a very good career, as did the sibling Indiamo Forense, who won the career debut in 2 of the first 3. Forenzi Freedom won the second start. Just Leo won in the second and third start. Plenty of win early, in other words, for Blakely's Wish, and could be very dangerous, obviously. So that one in the mix. And Route Sensation. Hey, experience counts, and this one put in a decent little debut to build on. So I'm intrigued to see this with a little bit of that win early breeding. 3, 1, 2, and 7.
And you were ahead of the curve with the workouts, and Andy shows them on Talking Horses a lot. Is there an easy site to go to watch those in-sale workouts?
Well, the
Ocala.
Ocala, yeah. You pull up the results to a particular sale, and there's one of those little video icons, and you can watch.
Very good. 4-2-1 for me. I might be 4 days late, 96 hours late for the Horatio de Paz firster winner with Endless Vow. But the reason I was really looking for a firster here is the veteran I like. I'm a little afraid of regression, but the offspring of the Factor, who was a very good sprinter in California about a decade ago. Root Sensation, they had blinkers for the second start, debuted down at Aqueduct. Now, that was June 23rd. So in my book, there's actually more than enough time to rebound, to not have the less well angle. And that's one of those races you're like, run worse, and was 9-2 on debut. So somebody liked him. And for third, a firster from the rail at 2-1 in the morning line, Blakely's Wish. So 4-2-1. And also another side note, he went out on a big limb and told me the best pizza place I would ever go to in Cleveland as I was working my way back. My man was right. That pizza was out of this world.
In Cleveland, wow.
Yep.
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought? But he was right.
Second race this afternoon, we are looking at maiden specials, 1 1/8 on the grass.
And this is Thursday, so you're going to see 8-3-1 in here for protection reasons in the Times Union. Are we catching up on them? I noticed the other day it was like 8-4. Way too many ties. We're like the NHL in the 1970s. We got to work something out. Go to dollar value or something. It's like it was like 8-4-6 the other day. I'm like, no, this is not fun. I mean, it is fun, but you know what I mean. So you see 831. We'll get some turf information later. Protective would be probably one of the shortest price NTOs you come across. So let's just deal with the 3-1, and I'll let you know that the 5 is 3-1-5 as a turf contest for me, folks. So I'm going to concentrate on the 3-1-5. Legitimize. Tim Ham sends out the runner for a second start. This was a Valentine's Day debut, so I don't like to make conjecture, but Seth, I think it's fair to say if we debut that well at 15-1 and don't come back to the races on August 8th, something went wrong. Steady workouts indicated that we're back on board, so I'll take the offspring of Justify, who has turned out to be an outstanding stallion on both surfaces, on top. For second, number 1, Stop the Press. Jugs runner adds blinkers today in the 8th career start. And then Badge of War might better this rating. I talked about this the other day. Richard Dutro Jr. has been very quiet at the entry box.
Yeah.
Which is just surprising. Second start since April, but I know it says 8-3-1 on your monitor, folks, but as a turf race, it's 3-1-5.
6-3-2-1. Chad and Klarovich, passive management. I thought the debut effort was good enough and probably has an edge if we just get back to that on most of these, much less if we step forward. Legitimize, you're right. I mean, the debut effort, February 14th, was a late debut for a 4-year-old and then laid off since. But there is that steady string of workouts that seems to indicate the horse will be well met here, and that they choose to take their shot here at Saratoga. I think indicates they're expecting a decent effort. So logical off of that nice number in the debut down at Tampa, but there is the question mark off the layoff. Prospero in the 3rd spot, Cherie DeVoe runner. Nice improvement in the seasonal debut, and I think bodes well for moving forward over the next couple of starts as well. So for me, 6-3, 2-1.
Now here's a question. They did this in California 20 years ago, moving stakes races out of the pick 6 for them mostly, because this race does not seem that type of race.
I don't know why they do it anyway.
I'm starting to wonder, do they have a preference for this late pick 5 being more wide open?
With that, maybe you're on to something.
But why is this a 6-horse field? Well, that's okay. I think it's highly competitive. I do not see any reason it wouldn't be the 8th or 9th race, but it's not. And it's the Morrissey for State Breds, annually the big stake sprint race for the boys.
Rooting for our friends at Bonaventure with Oceans Reserve. I've said many times, if you are a partnership, man, you want a horse like Oceans Reserve.
Right.
Comes out and gives a real performance.
Point out the difference between what we're doing and what Dan is doing. Like, this is a grand slam.
Yeah, I mean, they partners show up, and he's run well at Saratoga. They're taking their shot today, and good luck. I went in some other directions here. 5, 6, 4, and 2. Rotney on top, moves back into State Bred Company, where he's been very, very successful. Tried Open Company in the True North last time on Belmont Stakes weekend up here. Ran 4th, but again, moving back in against the State Breds, I'll tilt slightly in that direction. Looms Boldly, owned by Marshall Graham and named in honor of Pete Fornatal. That's his Twitter handle, Looms Boldly, and it's been a nice runner for Marshall. Certainly with 7 exactas and 9 triple finishes and 11 starts, and comes into this in good form off a nice near miss up here Belmont Stakes weekend. And then factually correct Rudy Rodriguez runner that has plenty of early speed. To me, the top 2 probably are the ones that are more intriguing, but I think on a best effort, factually correct. And Sheriff Bianco, I think on a best effort, maybe as a player as well. But it kind of goes to the top 2 for me. 5, 6, 4, and 2.
I think all 6 are live here. I think it might be Peter's handle, but isn't that one of Trevor's Denman's things?
Oh, that's probably what Pete got it.
Looms Boldly on the outside. I'm 3, 6, 5. They're all live in it to me. I will say this. This is one of those cases where I need a better price than 4.5-1 on Light Man, because I have to improve enough. I have to take 2 leaps forward, not just 1. I need to make 2. This is a tough race. It annually is, because it's a big spot for the New York Breds. So Light Man, I think, is light on the morning line, and I try and be objective with our audience. I know it's 3 in a row, but I have to really pick it up. I have Looms Boldly I think gets a good trip out there with that good early speed. And then Rocky, I just am wondering if maybe they're in one of those, what's it called? Like in you have cycles for horses. People have cycles. And I'm wondering if his cycle right now is maybe starting to work its way back up. But I don't think he's going to make the leap from, I don't know. I just think he's a vulnerable favorite in a race that I think is outstanding. I mean, I think you're 4, 5, 6. I'm hoping they all beat each other up. And I sit there, but I still got to run better. I get a race scenario that I like, but I'm 3, 6, 5 in the Morrissey.
All right, time now for the dark horse play of the day. I'm right on it today.
You are, boy. That was like bursting out.
Yesterday, I was a little took me a break.
Couldn't find pages.
Commercial break. Oh, that's right. I lost the last page of that race, which I immediately found in the other pile. But the dark horse play of the day today, race number 4, restricted maiden special event. This is a fun race. Now, I think the betting public is going to go with the morning line favorite, Friday Surprise, who has plenty of things to like. I'll talk more about that one when we get to the race. But I'm going to put the 3 on top. Pro Bail 10. This one is intriguing to me. It comes in off a couple of starts that troubled starts. Now, if you look at the trouble line last time, bump break, I looked at the replay. There was a bump legitimately, but I don't know if it was that bad that I would really look at that as much trouble. 2 starts back, though, that they debuted at Keeneland, said that they had a little ambition for this one. Horse was legitimately off last and way last in that debut. So that debut, you can kind of run a line through it and think, went out and got some practice. Then comes back at Colonial. And that they were racing down at Colonial and said, let's go up and try this restricted company up in Saratoga. That in itself says something to me. There's a sibling called Singing Bullet that won its career debut. Another sibling called Bohemian Queen that won its career debut. I think there's some win early breeding here. I think perhaps there are a couple of trouble lines that you can, at least one of them, I think, give a legitimate excuse to. And at this scenario, again, of coming up to Saratoga intrigues me all at 15-1. So dark horse play of the day for Thursday afternoon. Race number 4, horse number 3, Pro Bail 10, brought to you by the Dark Horse Mercantile and Impressions of Saratoga, both in downtown Saratoga. We had Maddie and Marianne on yesterday, and they're up and running at Impressions, and Dark Horse has been going right along, and they gave the hours yesterday, and they're open a little bit later at night. So if you're down for some dinner, stop by. Both stores right on Broadway. Thanks to them for their sponsorship of the Dark Horse Play of the Day.
All right, take a quick break. When we come back, the middle pick 4.
In 4 generations, Bruce Cerrone and his family have continued the 102-year tradition of delighting their local following and faithful summer crowd with the finest authentic Italian recipes. Classic Italian dishes made with the freshest ingredients, served in a home-like setting. Some things have changed in the last 102 years, but not Pinnell's commitment to the finest in Italian cuisine. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, just minutes from the track.
Sometimes it pays to go with the flow, to check your worries at the door, to reconnect with your crew, to follow the thrills and the flavor, to roll with it and see where it takes you, to enjoy every minute to its fullest, and to dance like there's no tomorrow. You can do that here at Rivers Casino and Resort Schenectady, where the good times flow.
It only takes one upset to make history, and now you can be part of Saratoga's long tradition at the Dark Horse Mercantile. The Dark Horse Mercantile offers a carefully curated selection of clothing, gifts, and home decor, from one-of-a-kind vintage racing memorabilia to select brands like Barber and Under Armour, as well as exclusive Dark Horse branded merchandise. So celebrate the Dark Horse in all of us at the Dark Horse Mercantile, downtown Saratoga, where the smart bet is always the Dark Horse. Welcome back to the Handicappers Report on this Thursday morning. Again, gorgeous Thursday morning. If you're coming up, it's a beautiful day here in Saratoga. 4th race on this Thursday afternoon. Restricted maiden specials going 3/4 of a mile.
And I'm in your neighborhood because I know your dark horse play. I have probable 10 for 3rd. I'm 1, 4, 3. 80 West to me talked about Dallas Stewart, throughout this meet. If you're a black and white stats guy, maybe the 8%, and we had the winner the first time starter, but his horses are running well, folks, running better than odds. And that's really the focus for me, almost myopically. And I like 80 West. Tyler Gaffalione has traditionally shown some early energy, and I think we bust out of there in the second career start. Long enough time since the debut on June 23rd. Friday Surprise, who's, this to me, tread lightly here, because this has all the earmarks of running less well at a bad price. And for third, Probable 10, Seth touched on him, I think is a sneaky runner in here. I probably should have flip-flopped my second and third, but I like 80 West strongly in here. 1, 4, 3.
3, 4, 8, and 1. Again, just went over Pro Bill 10 in the Dark Horse Play of the Day. Win early breeding. Intriguing that they come up to Saratoga to take their shot here. I'll put that one on top. But as I said, Friday Surprises, the horse is going to take the action. Nice looking debut. The Apprentice follows this one up. So that to me was a little bit of a knock, perhaps. A 7-pound Apprentice who doesn't normally ride up here at Saratoga. But clearly the debut down at Parks was very good. The sire is King for a Day and has one of those sneaky, that not too many first-time starters so far, but it's kind of sneaky. 5 first-time starters this year, no wins, but a second and 3/3. So they're on the verge of doing a little something, including the close-up second for this one. Dan produced a sibling called Boss 302 that won the career debut. The sire King for a Day was a Pletcher runner that won the Sir Barton and the Pegasus. So there's things to like on Friday Surprise. And as I say, we'll take the action off of that debut. And then I went out to number 8, Strength and Guidance, Catalina Cruiser runner. That one's a good sire of win early types. I'm going back to the second start. Had some trouble last time. I'm going to draw a line through that. In the fourth, 3, 4, 8, and 1.
And we are scheduled to run on the turf. So race number 5 is optional claimers 2X going 11 furlongs on the inner.
1, 6, 5, and 7. Just master the obvious here. Aspen Grove goes out and seems to have the edge on this bunch, stepping out of Grade 1 stakes company, and I think will legitimately have the edge on this group. And if there is some moisture, and you would think there would be, this horse has a nice start on a yielding course down at Churchill, 2 starts back. So I'll go there. Be your best if you're looking for an option. Irad Ortiz on board, also stepping out of stakes company, and seems like a logical player, and Dreaming of Mo for Dale Romans. This one tries stakes company for the first time and probably has to step it up a little bit to get to those top 2, but I don't think it's out of the question. Relatively lightly raced still, and seems to be moving in the right direction. But for me, 1, 6, 5, and 7.
Intriguing race for me. The 8 is obviously for the Times Union. I'm 1, 6, 5 also for a turf race. The thing that 2 thoughts I have, Seth, is what we're going to get out here. A, Mother Nature. But B, who makes the front? Who's setting the fractions? It seems to me that the ones you would be confident in thinking would be the 4 or the 5. I almost kind of like the 5 a little bit, but a running style next to Aspen Grove, and Aspen Grove is probably better. Lady Emily Catherine, I think if I'm Junior Alvarado, I'm going. I mean, I have to use some early energy, right, that they displayed last October. I mean, this is going to be that race. What was the race last year? The stakes race with Dylan Davis, Parkan. I said, he just got to go to the front. That was like, I think, the Bowling Green last year, right? A Grade 2. I see this.
Has to look to me, they're bunched up all the way around.
But
I don't see anybody
somebody
who
has to unbunch them.
I don't see anybody who has that ability.
Well,
really.
I agree with that, but I think sometimes, and listen, I've never been on top of a horse, but just use some early energy to go get position. Somebody has to be in front. Those are the rules. And if I'm Junior Alvarado, I mean, Safi Joseph's a kind of a smart guy. He'd be like, he's not going to yell at him if he uses early energy.
That's the bullet workout 2 weeks back too. So yeah.
I think it's an intriguing race because if nobody does that, I mean, it's going to be 51 or 52 to the half. It's going to be punchy. But Aspen Grove is supposed to win in here, prepping probably for more greatest stakes action. talked about this a little bit, and I really had never talked about it before, but maybe a confidence builder getting out of the graded stakes company. But 165 for me. But it's a huge caveat. I think it's a very intriguing race. And if I'm Junior Alvarado, I'm going. I mean, I'm going to see if I can, it's 3 turns. I think speed out. You always like to say how counterintuitive it is. I think this is a big example.
6 races this afternoon, maiden specials. These are 2-year-old fillies, 5.5 on the grass.
381 for me, Pop Idol, making the second career start, but one of my favorite ones. It might not be Presque Isle, Seth, but it's the Woodbine Synthetic onto the turf for the second start for George Weaver out of the brilliant runner and quality stallion McLean's Music. For second and one more time, Live Oak runner on debut showed nothing. Mark Cassidy gets the Omaha Beach to the turf, and then rematch Shug McGahee with the very familiar but not often seen anymore, Mr. Farish's Silks.
Yeah. I have it 8-7, 2-1. I did put in one more time on top. Beaten favorite, as you say, Live Oak horse that didn't show much in debut, but it was the beaten favorite. There was some breeding here. Sibling Churchtown won its career debut. Simply in front, another sibling, second, then one in the third start. Another sibling, Honor D Lady, second, and then won the second start. Just a few weeks ago, won the Del Cap down at Delaware Park. Omaha Beach, this year not quite as proficient with the first-time starters. 45 first-time starters, 3 winners, 3 seconds, 6 thirds. But you go back to last year, 55 first-time starters, 13 wins, 4 seconds, and 4 thirds. So I think Omaha Beach legitimately is a win early sire. Dam has produced win early. I think with that performance in the debut, we'll get some value. And this is a beaten favorite with plenty to like. So I'll put in one more time on top. Moonlight Promises in the second spot. This is also a Mark Cassidy runner with a little bit of breeding. Also making the second start off a beaten favorite debut effort. Ran better than the top pick, but did so in an off the turfer. But this is a sibling to Coppertown that was second in debut, won the next 3 starts. 2 other siblings won their second career start. So this one has plenty of opportunity to live up to those older siblings, I would think. And we're looking at 8 going on the morning line there. I think the 2 Cassidy runners are very intriguing, potentially at prices. And at 12-1, I'm wishing on a star. Mike Deeney, I got to put my man Deeney in the mix. But this one worked 9.4 before the Ocala sale. And I will say, rematch for Shug. There are too many to list. There were a lot of win early siblings on the page for this one. I read on board, so I wouldn't talk you out of number 1 rematch. But I have it 8-7, 2-1.
All right, well, we come back. Another pick 4.
Want to get your career in horse racing off to a fast start? Well, the University of Arizona's Racetrack Industry Program is your winning ticket. The Racetrack Industry Program has served as a springboard to some of the industry's most successful individuals, with a proven track record of job placement right out of college. If you want to earn a degree in the exciting horse racing industry, the Racetrack Industry Program can put you in the winner's circle.
A day at the track isn't complete without a night at the Horseshoe. Great food, hot music, and cold drinks. So why go downtown when all the action's just across from the track? The Horseshoe Inn at the corner of Nelson and Gridley.
Capital OTB is now streaming live on Roku. The RTN Racing channel on Roku lets you watch OTB TV live through your Roku device or your Amazon Fire Stick, rather than being limited to computers and mobile devices, which means you can now watch OTB live wherever you are. Simply open Roku, scroll to find the RTN channel, then click on OTB TV. OTB TV on Roku. Try it now.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. 7th race, the Wilson Shoot, taking a lot of shots on Twitter.
Oh, really?
A lot. Like all of a sudden, this infusion of like,
I will say,
let's abandon it for the 3rd time.
I will say I hit. Did hit the pick 6 yesterday. You know, again, it was $500, but it was an $8 ticket, so I was pretty happy. But
I would hope you are.
I did it because I was live to 2 horses in the last race. One was a gate scratch, and so I scratched into the favorite.
Yes.
But the horse I actually had on the ticket, I think was the best horse in the race. Okay. And being the Wilson Shoot, just got the accordion coming out, and it was the 11. So way out, got the accordion, went to the back of the pack, and ran a good second.
On the pick six for that run?
It was about $80 more. So I wasn't crying. It wasn't a huge difference.
All right.
But I think I had the best horse. But again, you're in that shoot, you're on the outside, and you get squeezed
and
like
let
that.
me tell you, do you agree with me? Like you wish they stayed with it for about 5 more seconds?
You're exactly right. Yeah, and I think it's just a function of the mechanics of the the placement of where they. I have it 5, 6, 1, and 2. Thought the 7 was a little bit interesting as well. Carrara, though, on top for me. Kenny McPeak runner steps maiden special weight to maiden claiming in the 3rd start of the season. Little improvement, start 1 to start 2. I could see this one having a little bit of an edge in here. Given that scenario, I think we will see maybe a little step of improvement. I think that's good enough in here. So I'll tilt in that direction. 2nd spot, Bourbon Serengeti. Brad Cox runner, also maiden special weight to maiden claiming. 2nd start of the season for this one in the 3rd career start. Debut effort was pretty good last December. The follow-up this year was not so good in that they drop in. Given the debut effort being pretty good, for them to, in the 3rd career start, drop in for the tag, I was a little bit suspect, I guess. In the 3rd spot, Street View, nice little 2nd place finish last time, and off the turfer, claimed out of that one by Linda Rice. 10 starts, hasn't gotten it done yet, but I thought off of the last couple really, this horse was a little bit intriguing. 5, 6, 1, and 2.
All right, we see it somewhat similarly, but what I think is interesting here is how about Bourbon Serengeti? The stats that I have when I printed this out for Brad Cox is over half of his horses are in the exacta. 10 seconds, which is just, his horses are running very well. And how about this? If you're going to be 1 for 18, Ken McPeak, it's the right one. He got the right one home with Torpedo Anna and the other 17. I think he would have chosen. You saying I got to be 1 for 18? All right, I picked this one. This is the 1 for 18 I want to be. Bourbon Serengeti is my top pick. First time in for a tag. The horse is always bet. The barn is going very well to me. Yes, only 4 for 27 when these were printed. I'm thinking, not in Seth's mix, making the first time in for a tag, 2nd start since April, and for 3rd, Ken McPeak's runner, first time in for a tag. Also, 3rd start of the year. What intrigues me is I'd like to see a replay of the comeback or the seasonal debut where they showed that early speed and just go. To me, the number 5 post position is like the real good one. It's like if you have early speed, you can run almost a straight line to the apex of the turn. 6-2-5 for me.
Bourbon Serengeti, I'll add part of the ownership, America's Pastime, our friends, the local partners. They're having a great meet.
It's funny. I didn't see much yet. Now, you might not remember this, but when they brought the Wilson Shoot back for the first revival in 92, the trainers got upset because there was such an advantage to inside. It lasted 1 year. They got rid of it. I didn't see that type of thing. But all of a sudden, the Wilson Shoot's it's an abomination. Get rid of it. It's terrible. I didn't see that though.
You can pull up the post. I don't think it's favoring.
I think we all agree it's not perfect for obviously and also I kept watching because we've had all these. We might have big numbers Santa Claus, but there's only 5 horses in the race. I'm wondering what it's going to be like with a field of 10.
Yeah, well. 8th race this afternoon, plain vanilla claimer, 3/4 of a mile.
158 for me in this vanilla claimer. Nelson Avenue scheduled to break for the number 6 post position. Makes the 2nd start up here. I like the comeback race, beaten favorite. Frankie Dettori retains the mount in here. Frankie riding by appointment only at this point in his career. Lark's Mischief intrigues me greatly because Mike Maker is just a sharp guy. In here, comes off of the turf sprint to get some speed into. And for 3rd, Lost in Rome, who may better this rating with an advantageous post position, 2nd off the claim for Dylan, 158.
I could probably make similar cases for 8 in here or more, but I went with Radical Right. 9-5, the 1 entry, and 6. Our friend Roddy Valente, one of the owners of Radical Right, 2nd off the claim. They take a drop. It looks like a drop with a purpose. They claimed for 80. They ran last time in an optional claim or weren't in for the tag. Both of those were down at Churchill. Churchill runners coming up here have been doing okay. I'm going to look for this one again at the class level to make a little noise in here. Irod Ortiz on board Lark's Mischief for Mike Maker. Tried the turf last time. I like the turf to dirt move today. And I think another one that is making a little class move that will have some intent. And then the one entry. I could make a similar case for both halves of the one entry. I don't really, sometimes I look and I prefer one over the other. This one, I think both of them on a best effort are right in the hunt with this bunch. But again, I could make kind of similar arguments for a few in here. I wound up 9-5, the one entry, and 6.
All right, take our final break. When we come back, the late daily double.
For more than 4 generations, Bruce Cerrone and his family have continued the 102-year tradition of delighting their local following and faithful summer crowd with the finest authentic Italian recipes. Classic Italian dishes made with the freshest ingredients, served in a home-like setting. Some things have changed in the last 102 years, but not Pinnell's commitment to the finest in Italian cuisine. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, just minutes from the track.
Sometimes it pays to go with the flow, to check your worries at the door, to reconnect with your crew, to follow the thrills and the flavor, to roll with it and see where it takes you, to enjoy every minute to its fullest, and to dance like there's no tomorrow. You can do that here at Rivers Casino and Resort Schenectady, where the good times flow.
The only thing better than watching the races is watching your own racehorse. With nearly 20 years experience in the racing industry, Bonaventure Stables' share-based ownership program enables everyday fans to become part owner of a thoroughbred for far less than you might think, with all the ownership perks at Saratoga, Belmont, Aqueduct, and other great tracks. Experience the thrill and lifestyle of owning your own thoroughbred racehorse. Learn more at bonaventurestables.com.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. As of now, we're on the turf. It's a beautiful day. And like I said, if it's a great way to spend a day. And if you're a casual fan, I think just horse racing is good enough. You know, you're not interested in, there's some very competitive races, which is fun, but you can have plenty of elbow room, perfect weather. On the 9th, state bred. So I just don't understand why the Morrissey isn't here. I mean, what is the difference between the Morrissey and this race? But it isn't. 5.5 furlongs, turf dash. State breds 2x45.
Yeah, I mean
it's almost exactly the same race. Like
originally, you could kind of understand they were taking short fields and moving.
Yeah.
But now there are races like, yeah, you're right. The one today could be in here. But I'm 7, 3, 4, and 5. Marco T on top. Christophe Clement runner comes in off a nice allowance win last time. 3 starts back, broke the maiden. In between those, tried Stakes Company and, ran okay, but was maybe a little overmatched coming out of the maiden race. But I think Marco T is live in with this bunch this afternoon. Strictly Taboo. It's another Clement runner, so we'll look for the Clement Exacta here. Comes in, 3rd start of the season, off 2 wins so far. And again, it's another one of those, both of those at Saratoga, but not at this meet, which is a unique thing to say up here. But again, the first win of the season was at that Belmont Stakes meet.
Maybe they should have made it BAS.
So you said that, and someplace I've seen it referred to in that fashion. But anyway, the 2 wins so far, 2 wins both up here, probably the one to beat. And then latest addition in the 3rd spot, Tom Morley runner, also 2 for 2 this season. Debuted up at the Finger Lakes, looked pretty good. Then went down to Belmont at Aqueduct and moved over to the turf and looked pretty good there. So I think that one's a player as well. 7, 3, 4, and 5.
Now, Strictly Taboo, who's not on my list, it's a little different. Bingo, bango, bongo. He took 5 races, but he's trying to run through his conditions in 3 straight races. I'm 785 for those living in the Latham area. Marco T for Christophe Clement, I think, is a major player with an outside post position. You don't say this very often, Seth, but I am anticipating getting a clean trip in a turf sprint. We'll see how that materializes. Ms. Big Bucks, the outside of the main body, making the 3rd start of the year. I'm going to throw out the more recent effort on opening day, the off the turfer. Weekend Rags, could better this rating. They stayed in and got a runner-up position on opening day. His horse could be heck to pay in here. Very competitive, just like the Morrissey, 785. And you want to know what's interesting? Because it's fair to say there is a reason that they're running the stakes race early in the card. Usually that's bad business because you want people to stick around, but it doesn't seem to make sense. It doesn't seem to be an avenue. Like in California, they did it because they love to pick six. They've had short fields in California for 20 years, and these stakes races seem to have odds-on runners 50% of the time. So that they'd run it as the third race.
Yeah.
None of that seems to be in play.
No, and
particularly here.
I think originally it will, but yeah, the last couple of years there are some head scratchers on that.
I agree.
I'll see if I can.
Now, here's a
find
question: who's in charge of? Is it the racing secretary? Is in
order?
Charge of the order?
Good question.
Of events. Sure. It would make sense, right? They make all the races. So.
And you referred to the area code a moment ago. How long is that going to be a thing? Because now with cell phones, people move, and you keep your phone number.
Actually, I misspoke. It's not the area code. That's the exchange.
Oh, okay.
The area code is 518. Obviously.
Yeah. You're right.
The number is what it is, but the exchange.
But even that
is
it's same
How many people
scenario.
think you know that's what it's called?
The area code?
No, the exchange.
Oh, the exchange. Yeah.
Not too many people.
Well, as you said it, I'm thinking area code may be a phrase that some kids don't.
Oh, kids. Oh, geez. Don't get me started with them. The phone thing. They're still wondering, there was a building, you handed a slip of paper, and somebody dialed up video. None of that makes sense.
10th and final today goes off a little after 6:15. Optional claimer starter allowance, a mile on the ground.
And by the way, the young people out there should know, this is not me being the old man, get off the lawn. It's me being green with envy. How you have it compared to how we had it. 739 in here. Sizzle is a price on here, and I'm telling you, folks, I can't see receiving 6-1 on this runner, but I like it all day, all night for this offspring of Yoshida, making the fourth career start. I think I'm going to get a good trip in here, and I like my chances. For second, Turf Rocket. Well, we certainly hope so, although we haven't seen much of that before. Comes out of a race on Colonial. I think their opening day matched our opening day, right? So I think this was opening day at Colonial Downs. I think they, which I thought was kind of funny. I might not open my racetrack the same day Saratoga opens, but I think that they did. And for third, Goats on a Tree. I have no idea what that means, but we're on the outside. I think we're going to slip over for IRAD. You might actually get a decent price on one of his runners. But I like Sizzle in here, not on your mix, but I am 739 in what I think is at least the third outstanding, well-balanced field, which is all I really ever yearn for.
But I look down the page, Goats on a Tree, now owned by Ken Ramsey. But as I look down the page with a name like that, no surprise. Gold Square Racing, Al Gold, who typically is clever with the names. 649 and 7
usually
for me.
You can figure it out, like.
Sometimes. I don't know about all the time.
All right.
But usually is probably right, but it's not always. Busy morning on top. Comes in off a couple of starts that number improved from 2 starts back to last time. Doesn't jump off the page by any means, but I gave this one a slight edge on the progression. And if we can go forward again, maybe has a little bit of an edge on this bunch. Sweet Duchess in the second spot. Will Walden, runner. Beat conditional claimers last time. On the condition, maybe a little saltier here, but you go down the page, his face saltier. So I think this one is going to be a snug fit with this group this afternoon. And then the aforementioned Goats on a Tree in the third spot, up from Gulfstream for Safi, who's having a pretty good meet. And I think this one is a player off the recent form as well. 10th and final at Saratoga, 649 and 7.
Now here's where I believe we'll receive a true barometer of the IRAD tax, because it's a balanced field. We're on the outside. We should certainly be in the 6-1 area, and we're gonna see if in this particular race there's a strong IRAD tax.
Yeah, and they don't all go down to favoritism or short prices.
No, but
he gets away occasionally. But even that, you probably are getting a tick or two less than you might normally get. Once again, there's a horse doing circles behind the starting gate. I guess that's a thing.
It is now.
Yeah.
All right. So who do you got coming up?
Top of the hour, just a few minutes away. Our friend Dave Grennick from the Daily Racing Forum, the weekly visit, a little preview and review of some of the stakes action. Jessica Paquette, I thought I saw her walking by. She's
on the tan.
Yeah, visiting people, I think. But she'll join us as well on her little break from Parks, as they're on a little hiatus with their action. And then coming up a little bit later on, Kevin Koch, the Brooklyn Cowboy, dual handicapping with Kevin. All of that in just a couple of minutes. Racing across America.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's a beautiful day up at the track. Come on up. I think the card is very contentious. About 3 or 4 races. I think there's 6 deep. Who could ask for anything more? He stays, I go. See you back here tomorrow morning.
This has been the Handicappers Report, brought to you by CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier online wagering site in New York State. CapitalOTBBet.com. Sign up today. And the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany. Make it to the Clubhouse Racebook.